On today's episode, I'm coming at you with 3 things that you can do to be more productive as an artist and get more things done every week and every day. We'll see you on the inside. What's going on, everybody? This is Mike from the Songwriters Planner. Thanks for joining me on this podcast today. Really excited about today's podcast. I've kind of been thinking about this and I decided to kind of bring it back to basics today. Today we're going to be talking about the 3 things that you can do as an artist, and the 3 things that I do actually that I've learned over the years that keep me productive, keep me focused on the things I want to accomplish for the week, all my musical tasks. And this really applies to just about anything, really, anything that you want to get done. You know, we all have our list of things that we'd like to do more of throughout the week. And it could be music related, or it could be, you know, something else. I mean, you could be studying, you could be a student and you want to get more things done. It doesn't really matter. You could be a carpenter and you want to learn how to make a chair or whatever. Whatever the case is, we're going to be talking about 3 things that you can implement every day and every week to get more things done and to knock things off your list. I know, like I mentioned before, these are the things that I kind of learned how to do over the years. And for me, I applied that to music. I mean, that is who I am. That is what I do. It's really the only thing I'm good at, or that I know. I don't know. You guys out there can probably relate. You're all most likely musicians or artists, being that you're here on the podcast. And if you aren't, hey, thanks for joining anyway. That works. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about a couple things that you can do to get more done. And I really wanted to backtrack and revisit these things because I think they're so essential and crucial to being more successful as an artist, or being more productive as an artist, so that you can, you know, create more songs, start your YouTube channel, create more videos, put up your website, things that focus around your music. It's not even necessarily creating more music, because as an artist and as an artist, you know, there's just certain things you can't force, and you can't push yourself to create great songs or write a great song. Or, man, I totally understand that, and I get that. If you are able to do that, if you are able to write things down and be more productive and write songs that way, then more power to you. Most artists I know work on impulse, work on emotion, and those things just come naturally. But what we're talking about today are other things that you can do to supplement your music. And usually that involves doing more work and getting more things done on your list of things to knock off. You know, like updating your website. That's a big one. Putting out a blog about what you're up to. You know, these are all things that go kind of swirl around what your music is. And I kind of talked about this in an earlier podcast, one of my first podcasts, and I got really good responses out of that. So what I wanted to do is just elaborate more on and reiterate what is so important and the things you need to do that are so important to allow you to be more productive as an artist. So I really appreciate the feedback that I got on that first podcast. It really was the essentials of what I believe as an artist and what has allowed me to be more productive, to do things like start a podcast and put together a planner, songwriter's planner. You know, I don't think that I would have been able to achieve these things and put this kind of product out and put up a podcast and put up my website and, and still continue to be in a creative project without focusing on these essential things. So this is going to be a bit of a shorter podcast today. We're not going to be going an hour long, which, as much as I would love to talk that long, that's probably too long. But I'm just going to kind of hit the important things. So if you guys are here to listen to that, thank you. I appreciate it. If you got these things down already, feel free to tune in on the next episode. But I really hope you stick around, because it's really important to get the more information that you know to be more productive artists. And this goes for me as well. I'm always looking for new ways to work things into my schedule so that I become more productive. It's never really something that you learn and you can just forget about. It's a constant learning issue. So if you're still here listening to this, thank you very much. and we are going to jump into it right now. So, okay. The first thing that I do, and the first thing that I think is very important when it comes to getting more things done, in the beginning of the week, the beginning of the day, whatever you do, the first thing you want to do is write down your list. Write down the things that you want to accomplish that day and or that week. They kind of actually go together. The secret to this list, and there's a secret there. The secret to this list is to make it achievable, make these things achievable and smaller bites. Because if we make a list of all the things we want to get done that day or that week, it becomes too overwhelming. And this affects everybody. Getting overwhelmed, what that leads to is, I wouldn't say laziness is the word, but it basically says, I just can't get all this stuff done, so forget it. I'm going to give up and I'm not going to get this stuff done. The secret to avoiding that kind of thing is having a list that you can at least get 75% of the things done, 50 to 75% of the things done on your list. Now, if your list is only 3 items long, great, that's even better. What I tend to do is every day I have a list of things to do, and I actually do use the planner to make check boxes and list out the things that I want to get done that day. If it is update the blog on the Songwriters Planner website, then I start on that. Or if it's do things like come up with a podcast idea, I'll do that. It's little things that allow me to feel like I'm making progress that day or that week, because it really is all about getting that feeling of making progress. And that's what's so important about keeping your list or your to-do list manageable and achievable, because it allows you to get the things done that you listed out, even if they're little tiny. I gave you a few examples. Another great example would be try coming up with a new riff. And, it doesn't even have to be a full song. Just come up with a new 8-bar riff or something like that, and something that you can work on later. It doesn't have to be crazy, complicated, or fancy. Just come up with a riff, and maybe something you can just store on your phone and work on later. Makes you feel good. Makes you feel like, oh, yeah, okay, well, I worked on something. That's cool. Or, get on the keyboard and come up with a new beat or something like that, and just start on something. Keep these goals really, really achievable. And, reiterating, of course, in one of my first podcasts, that how important this to-do list is. I do it every day. I literally have my planner updated every day with check boxes and lists of things that I want to get done. Another thing to keep in mind is if you don't get everything done on your list, it's okay. You don't have to worry about it. Make an effort to get as much as you can done. That way you can just take what you did not accomplish, move it to the next day or move it to the next week. Eventually keep it in front of you. Keep your eyes on the thing that needs to happen. If you don't carry it over, then you'll literally forget about it. So make sure you keep your eyes on the things you want to get done. That's what I do, is I transfer my items on my list, transfer them to the next day, move it on to the next week, make sure it gets done. And basically the important thing is, when I say make a list, you can do this obviously using digital technology. That's completely fine, whatever works for you. For me, I literally have to make a list and write it down. When I write things down, I personally feel more accountable to making sure it gets done. Because if I don't, I start to feel hypocritical about, wow, look at all the things I wrote down and I didn't accomplish any of them. I mean, I personally start to feel like a hypocrite, but you may, the way you deal with things and the way that you handle your tasks list or your to-do list is how you should do it. That's what's important. For me, writing it down, the art of notes down still is very effective to me. And so whatever works for you, use it. And so that is going to be the first thing to remember. If you want to get more done during your day, during your week, make sure you even have a place to start, which is write the things down that you want to accomplish. The second thing is going to be, you have to make time to get these things done. It's not enough just to write them down, but you actually have to make the time to get these items done. And, you think about it, there are 24 hours in a day. We are sleeping for some of them, obviously. But the time that you don't think you have, you have. Trust me, it really comes down to making it a priority to get these things done in the amount of time that you have during the day. And even if that means slicing out 15 minutes of your time to get something done, like post on social media, that does not take long, or do something like send an email to someone you want to collaborate with, or send an email to a local studio you are thinking about booking time with. Something that you are able to slice out time in your day to get it done. Ideally, what would be great is if you could slice out 1 hour a day to get the things done that you want to get done. And 1 hour, I mean, you can fit a band rehearsal in 1 hour. And that could be one of your things, But if you're talking about making time for your personal list, try 15 minutes, try 20 minutes, try 30 minutes, get an hour out. You still will have time to live your life if you can get at least an hour or 45 minutes of your time a day to do the things, to focus on the list that you created for yourself. It's really important because it's not enough to write these things down. It doesn't matter how many things you write down. If you're not making time to get them done, then it's just not going to work out for you. You're going to have a list of things that you are not able to cross off or check off. I mean, that's the way it works. And I'll tell you what, there's no better feeling than checking something off your list, whether you do it on your phone or whether you have a planner or a piece of paper. I love crossing things off my list. So I think that's what also motivates me to make the time to get these things done. So making the time to knock off things on the list, super important. It also coincides with making your list bite-sized or achievable. That way you're not carving out tons of time to get these things done. It's a busy world out there. You have a busy schedule. If you have families, that's a lot of time that you want to dedicate to your family. So having a list that works with the amount of time you can give really is probably the sweet spot of where you want to be. And it takes a little bit of practice to find that list size to time. If you keep doing it every week, you work on that list size and the amount of time it takes to achieve those things on the list with the actual schedule you have. That sweet spot is where you want to be. And if you can find that and you can fine tune that, I guarantee that you are going to be getting more things done, the things that you want to get done, and be more productive as an artist, which is going to make you feel better about where you are in music. It's really the secret formula. That is really, really, really what it comes down to, is doing these things and practicing them and getting in the mindset of, this is what I do. This is my method to get the things that I want to get done. This is my method now. That was me before. This is me now. And here's my list of things I want to get done this week. And this is me checking them off because I made the time to do it. It's really, really simple. I know it sounds simple, and it is simple once you install the habit of doing these things, making your list, scheduling time to get those things done on your list, make them a priority. Okay? So that is the second tip to make sure that you can be more productive as an artist. The third and final tip that I wanted to cover today is going to be consistent at this list making and scheduling time. Be consistent. And what I mean by that is, as I mentioned earlier, installing the habit of doing it every day and every week. Installing it so that it becomes a part of your routine, so that you're now doing this every day. And no matter what day it is, you are capable of making a list and dedicating time to do the things on your list. Now, some days we are more busy than others. Some days we are less busy. That's the way life works, right? I mean, nobody has consistent days every single day where you can set a certain amount of time consistently every day. So working with your schedule is super important, and rolling with the punches is really important to remember, that you're not going to be able to do the same amount of work one day that you got done the other day. But being consistent with it and implementing these tasks every day, every week, every month, you will soon look back and go, wow, I look at everything I've done. Not only will being consistent help you get these things done, but being consistent will make you learn faster, will make you make mistakes faster, which mistakes are a part of this whole process. You will find that what you did once didn't work, but making mistakes is just as important as feeling confident about and feeling good about your progress. Because what mistakes do is they teach you, don't do that. Okay, wow, I learned that. I won't do that again. And the faster you learn those mistakes, the faster you are going to achieve the things in a better direction. It's kind of like no one likes to fail. No one likes to mess up and be like, oh man, what a waste of time. Wrong. It was not a waste of time, because it taught you something. It taught you how to say, well, I'm not going to do that again. Let's go this way. And maybe we'll learn something going this way. So being consistent teaches you these things faster, teaches you how to fail faster, and teaches you how to succeed faster. If you're not consistent with your to-do list and knocking things off and setting these goals, I should say, then you're going to learn at a slower pace. You're going to learn slower. You're going to make mistakes slower. You're going to learn things slower. And if you really are serious about being an artist and growing, your fan base and growing your presence online or even in the scene, the faster you can do it, the faster you can learn what works and what doesn't, is going to excel you faster than other people, faster than the other artists that don't do these things. Artists are essentially known to be dreamers, to be, people who are just live by the seat of their pants and their heads in the clouds. And I've said that before, and I really think that that's how a lot of artists are perceived. Well, I don't believe that. I am an artist myself, and I don't believe that we all fall into that stigma. So the more that you can put work into creating your list, scheduling time to do the things you want to achieve, and being consistent with it, the more you're going to overcome this idea that musicians are lazy, artists are lazy, all they want to do is create their art. It's like, no, look at all these other things you can do. You can, create that YouTube channel. You can put out that vlog. You can learn how to edit videos. You can learn how to record music. You can post on social media. You can start your own chat groups about your music. There are a million things that you can do to supplement your creative art that will help you get closer to more followers, more fans, more people on your email list, more music being creative, if it works for you that way. More music being created, and also more people finding out about you. And ultimately, that's what we want as artists, is to get our art out into the world so more people can hear it. And the more people that hear it, guess what? The more people, you're going to have better chances of them liking it, or you finding your audience, finding your ideal audience. There's an audience for everybody out there, no matter what you play. I don't care if you play progressive goth, or if you play death hip hop, or if you play polka ska. It doesn't matter, man. There's an audience out there for you somewhere. If you put the work, and if you put the work into finding them, you will find an audience of which you can target your music to. And it all comes down to being more productive, learning faster, achieving more faster. And those things are built on top of the pillars, which I call the 3 pillars, which are writing down the things you want to get done, making the time to get those things done, and doing it every day, every week, every month. It's really simple, and I get really caught up in this because it really touches to the center of the core that I believe in, as far as being more productive and taking the ideals that successful business people use and applying that to musicians and artists and installing that in the artist community, which I think gets overlooked all the time as far as productivity goes. Artists can be productive and can be more by being more productive, and it doesn't even have anything to do with you creating new music. Creating new music can still be sacred to you, but there are other things that you can do to heighten your awareness and to heighten your profile as an artist. I mean, there are a million things you can do. So that is what I'm all about. And that is what I hope to install and instill into the music community, is fighting the stigma of musicians being lazy or they don't want to do anything except create music and buy gear, which I really only want to do those things too, to be honest with you, but I wish I could. But, being more productive and being aware of your productivity and what you can do to tweak that and to ratchet that up and what levers you can pull to make sure you're being more productive is really, really super important. And it's really something that I am passionate about, if you can't tell already. And I think that it's something that is essential to being an artist, especially in this day and age when there's so many tools available to you to create a brand for yourself, whether it be online videos, YouTube, recording your own music, posting it on SoundCloud, setting up your band page on Bandcamp, setting up your own website, setting up your Facebook page, learning Facebook advertising, learning digital marketing. There's so many things that are available for artists these days. And if you want to get those things done, if you want to be good at them, then putting in the time to learn how to get to do these things is the most important thing that you can do for yourself and your music, aside from learning how to sing, learning how to play an instrument. I mean, is the most important thing. And it comes down to those three things we talked about today. So I am going to leave it at that. We're going to keep this podcast short, and hopefully maybe you can listen to this in your car while you're driving somewhere. I know that's when I listen to my podcasts. And again, thank you for checking out this podcast. I know I kind of touched on these things in one of my earlier podcasts, and because of the interest in it, I really wanted to elaborate more on these three essential things that I view as applicable to anything in music for musicians, artists, and even in your life. If there's anything else that you want to learn or get done, use these 3 tips. Start with them. I use them every day. I'm here to tell you that I am not perfect at it either. There are days when I just cannot get all the things done that I'd written down, or I just did not make enough time. And you know what? That is okay too. Just move them to the next day. Learning about your schedule and learning about the things that come at you during the day. Don't beat yourself up about it if you don't get the things done you wanted to. Don't worry about it. Just move it to the next day. Get it done the next day and move it, and accordingly. But don't keep pushing things off. Don't keep pushing your list away and going, well, I'll get that done tomorrow, or I'll get that done the next day. That's, you don't want to get into that habit of doing that, because then you're not doing anything. So small list, achievable bites, being consistent with it, making the time to do it. That is what it's all about. So, okay, guys, I think I've rambled long enough today. Really appreciate you guys checking out this podcast. Don't forget to check out thesongwritersplanner.com. As I was talking about, it's the product that pretty much came from nowhere, to tell you the truth, and it's been really helpful to a lot of people out there. Everybody who's bought one and has been using it, and it's been helpful for you. Thank you guys out there. I really appreciate that. I'm really stoked that it's been helping you. It has helped me. I use mine every day, still to this day, and I'm glad it's a productive tool. So till the next episode, we'll see you guys later. This has been the Songwriters Podcast. Peace.